Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Clint Curry. I'm the District Attorney for Yuba County. I'm also the current chairman for the Yuba Sutter Narcotics and Gang Enforcement Task Force, which we call NET 5. And before we get started, I just want to thank a few people for being here. Acting U.S. Attorney Michelle Beckworth, thank you for being here. Sid Patel, Special Agent in charge of the Sacramento FBI office. Bob Barris, Special Agent in charge DEA. Marysville Police Department Chief Sachs. Sutter County Sheriff Brandon Barnes. Yuba City Police Interim Chief Jim Runyon. Wheatland Police Department Chief Brian Whitmer. Chris Branscombe, Marysville Mayor. Thank you all for, and Sheriff Brandon Barnes from Sutter County. Thank you all for being here on such short notice. So a multi-year investigation by NET 5 culminated today in the service of of 20 search warrants in Yuba, Sutter, Tehama, and Butte counties. It's important to note about this multi-year operation that the targets, the suspects, the central suspects in this operation were part of transnational drug trafficking organizations that were moving methamphetamine and deadly fentanyl across the border from Mexico into our state, where it was harming our communities and our children. Tragically, this morning at one of the sites where a search warrant was being served, a Marysville police officer lost his life in the line of duty. And here to tell you more about that is Sheriff Anderson. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, DA Curry. Hi, my name is Wendell Anderson, Yuba County Sheriff. And again, thank you for being here. Sorry I have to sit up here and talk about this senseless tragedy. As DA Curry alluded to, this was a very prolonged investigation that was instigated by our NET 5 team, narcotic enforcement team, and its culmination led to 20 search warrants here in Yuba County, Sutter County, Tehama County, and Butte County. Today, during the service of one of those search warrants, the Yuba Sutter Regional SWAT team served a search warrant on Kestrel Way. Upon making entry into the house, there was an exchange of gunfire with an individual from inside the house, and one of those operators from the SWAT team was struck and later succumbed to his injuries at Rideout Hospital. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene, and very preliminary, so very early in this investigation. We'll have more information coming forward in the preceding days. Obviously, this tragedy has just rocked our small community here. Marysville Police Department is a close ally of ours, friends of ours. This operator that was on our team is a very close-knit team comprised of officers from the Yuba City Police Department, the Marysville Police Department, and the Yuba County Sheriff's Department. Don't have a lot more questions or comments at this time. Like I said, it's very early on in the investigation, and we will have more information that we'll release very shortly. Thank you for your time, and again, just a senseless tragedy. I'd like to introduce Chief Sachs from the Marysville Police Department. Chief.
As you all know, this is a sad day in the city of Marysville. We lost an officer today who was near and dear to our hearts. He was a 2-year veteran with our department, also a U.S. Army veteran. I appreciate the support from all the allied agencies within the region that have come to support us throughout this tragic time and the tragic loss that we have suffered. At this point in time, I'd like to just hope that everybody has their thoughts and prayers for our organization with this officer's family as we just traverse through this tragic incident. And we will have more information probably tomorrow, but we are taking today to be able to honor him and mourn the loss of a loved one, a brother, a father, and just a close friend of ours. So that's all I have for you guys today.
Yeah, and if I could introduce Mayor Branscombe from the Marysville.
I'm Chris Branscombe. I'm mayor here in Marysville. I'd heard about this early this morning, and when I arrived at the hospital, I walked into a room of Marysville police officers with one of our sergeants on a knee saying a prayer for a lost officer. At that moment, I was thinking about a similar tragic moment when I remember a question being asked, and that question was, how do we find such men and women? Men and women who engage gunfire or walk into burning buildings, all on our behalf. Well, we don't find them. They step forward. They step forward as a central element in their life plan, all on our behalf. And we should all be grateful. Thank you.
Okay. I know everyone's got a lot of questions. We still have a lot of questions. So it's good to keep in mind there are two investigations going on at this point. The first investigation is into the incident that happened at Kestrel Court this morning. And in charge of that is the Yuba Sutter officer-involved shooting investigation team. Because there was an exchange of gunfire, they will be conducting that investigation. That's led by the chief investigators from the Sutter and Yuba County District Attorney's offices. Within the next, I would expect 24 to 48 hours, we should be able to release names regarding that incident. But as far as exactly what happened inside of that house, it'll be probably months before we're able to tell you the whole story of what happened. So I ask for your patience with regard to that as we make sure that we know everything before we put that out. The second investigation is regarding this transnational drug trafficking organization. By the end of the week, I will put out a press release regarding the activity that went on today, the arrests that have been made. I can tell you that even prior to today, hundreds of pounds of methamphetamine had been seized, heroin, fentanyl, over $150,000 in currency. These were major players moving poison through our communities, and we couldn't just sit and watch it happen. We had to do something about it, and it's just tragic, and on all of us would just ask that you be praying for the officer's family and for his law enforcement community that's also grieving today. Thank you. We'll take a few questions. Sir.
We have information that this may be the first service death of a Marysville police officer in like 100 years. Is that accurate? And can you speak at all to the position that this officer held in SWAT team? What was his role?
I can't as to the second, and as to the first question, I do believe it's been a very long time, Chief.
That's correct.
That is accurate. It's been over 100 years. Yes, ma'am.
Was the person or persons responsible taken into custody or shot?
The person that we believe shot the officer is deceased.
Was that person shot as well? The suspect in this case, was that person shot and killed, or how did they die?
I believe that person was shot and killed, but again, it's very early in the investigation.
Can you just elaborate a little more about this investigation, the Net 5 group, and the structure of that investigation?
So the Net 5 group has been around since the early 80s, and it is comprised of, there's three agencies that fund it, the Sutter and Yuba County Sheriff's Departments and the Yuba City Police Department. And it has officers and deputies from all of those agencies, and they have been in charge of narcotic and gang task force here in Yuba Sutter for decades and decades. So they work with their federal partners, with the DEA, on major cases, along with BNTF in Butte County, Colusa County, Yolo, and others that have regional task forces that are focused on narcotics trafficking.
You mentioned an exchange of gunfire inside when this happened. Was there just one suspect inside at that time? Are you able to share that information with us?
There were two people in the home. and one of them is deceased, believed to be the suspect that shot the officer, and the other one is considered a witness at this point, but it's very early in the investigation. Yes, ma'am.
Was the officer wearing a bulletproof vest?
I believe so.
Okay, and there were other people that were detained and arrested on scene. Can you talk about who they were?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure about that. Do you have information on that?
I can tell you there was one other individual inside the residence where the search warrant was executed. That person was detained, brought to the sheriff's department for questioning, and has since been released.
Okay, and then so you guys are not releasing names yet of the officer?
Not at this time. We're giving the family time to grieve and make sure that everyone has been notified.
Can anyone share about your young officer? I understand he was a young father. He served the country before he served the streets of Marysville.
Yeah, he was a veteran of our armed services, the Army, I believe. Well-respected, well-liked, was a member of our law enforcement family here in the Yuba area.
And sorry, one more question. You said 20 search warrants. Can you, over what geographical area?
Sure. So we had multiple search warrants in Yuba County, Sutter County, Tehama County, and multiple search warrants in Butte County as well.
And these other search warrants were executed generally without any incident? Were there arrests?
It's too early for us to tell. Obviously, we've been focused on our slain officer, and we will follow up in the following days with numbers and stats from those search warrant services.
So to clarify, there were multiple search warrants executed today, not just the one here in
There were 20 search warrants executed today. Yes.
Was the suspect from Yuba County?
At this point, as I said, we're still working on identification, notification, and we'll release that information in the following days.
Were the other 19 search warrants today deemed, I guess, successful? No issues with those?
Well, we didn't have any altercations or incidents that I'm aware of at this point. But as I said, we've been focused on this incident, on taking care of our staff, taking care of the family of the slain officer, and we will have that information in the next couple of days.
All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.